Good morning, guys. I'm Chris, and welcome back to another episode of Rift Amps. This is an Americana LP that has come in for service, and the owner has just sent the chassis and the valves in, no cabinet, no speaker. Now, in this game, most of the amplifiers that you build, you'll never see again. They go off out into the world. You know, my amplifiers go to North America, South America, Australia, the Middle East, Europe, everywhere. And so most of the time you don't get to see them again. You know, they get looked after by local technicians who keep them serviced and keep them ongoing. You might get sent pictures of them, you know, and bits and pieces like that. But rarely do they actually come back to the shop. This particular unit was built in 2020 during COVID for a customer, and he owned it for a short period of time, and then he sold it to another chap who then sold it to someone else, and it's been around the houses. Now, at some point in its life, it had a 6v6 failure because another tech had replaced one of the screen grid resistors and had to clean up all the carbon from the burnt resistor and all that kind of stuff and go through it and sort it out. So it also, at some point in its life, someone else had changed some of the cap values in the reverb circuit. Not entirely sure why, but the reverb wasn't sounding great. Anyway, I've now put it back to stock and it's now running great. It's all fixed. The reason the customer sent it in to me is he's decided to sell it on, and he's noticed that it started humming more than usual. This filter cap here, which is the screen node for the output valves, was faulty, so I put a new one in and that's fixed it all up. Lovely, it sounds great now. But here's something really, really interesting. The customer asked me to supply a new control plate for the amplifier, which I've put on. And I'll show you why he's asked me for that. It's because this is the original one that was fitted to the amplifier. And as you can see, around the inputs, it's started to come away. Now, and around the on-off switch as well. Now, interestingly, that's where your fingers go, right? I'm trying to work out, why is there excessive wear at those points? But I've not seen that before on any of my other control panels, on any other amplifier that's gone out. What's caused that? But obviously it doesn't look right, it needs to go. Now, it was only when I pulled the knobs off to replace the control panel that I noticed the washers around the 4 pots. And as you can see, they've all gone. Can we get you a good macro shot? They've all started to go rusty and corrode. So, 2 causes for that. Either this amplifier was stored somewhere extremely damp, I don't know, in a rehearsal room in a cellar or something, I don't know, or one owner of this amplifier has got the Angus sweat, you know, that just corrodes everything. I wonder if that's the cause. Yeah, you can see on the... Anyway, so, yeah, never seen that before, but it's just fascinating how they've corroded. I've never seen those do that either. Even on really old amplifiers, the washers are usually in good condition. So, whoever the chap was has clearly got the Angus sweat, I think. Or, like I said, it's been used in a very, very damp environment. But anyway, the amp is all done, all back together. It runs great, sounds great. Just got to box it up and ship it back to the customer, and he will, I mean, hopefully, if he enjoys it so much, he's going to keep it. But I suspect he's going to move it on. But anyway, there you go. Curious case of the corroding faceplate. Just finished assembling this Ainsley Lister signature combo in black Tolex. This is the one that is off to Switzerland. Yeah, so customers been very patient on this. Really looking forward to getting it. So mustn't hang around. I need to get this boxed up, UPS booked, and get it on its way. But yeah, really happy with the way this one's turned out. It's looking really smart. It's come out really well. Very happy. So there we go. Another Ainsley Lister signature done, and we can crack on with the next one. Just wiring up this 57 Tweed, one of the limited runs that I'm doing, and this is the first one of the batch. So what I've noticed as I'm building it is my V2 socket. On the next ones, I'm probably going to have it half an inch this way, just so I can separate the anode of V1B from the cathode of V2A ever so slightly more at the back here. So if I could just move that socket over slightly. It's okay on this one because of the way I've wired it, but for future ones I'm going to do that, and that's exactly why I do them one at a time, so I don't duplicate any mistakes before I've actually made them, if that makes sense. But yeah, so on the next, what have I got left to do? 4 of them. I'm going to have this socket ever so slightly closer this way. Maybe have it in line, so the center point in line with that eyelet there. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, that's the type of thing you come across. I mean, I know I've got the clearance to the speaker belt anyway, so I could have this socket in theory anywhere along here. But I think if I just shift it over maybe 3/4 to 1 inch is what it needs to be. It's just going to allow better separation there, so I can do other cool things. So just why we've got the 66 black plate Princeton reverb, the one that's having the output transformer rewound, and we've got the 74, 75 silver plate Princeton reverb here in the shop. I just thought we'd have a quick look at some similarities and differences, or one that I've spotted in the 66. It's got a 125 P1B power transformer, which is correct. Now, if you notice, it's actually quite a short unit. The stacking is only 1.5 inches high. Yeah. Whereas on the silver plate amp, it's 1 7/8. get down lower. Yeah, about 1 7/8 roughly. So why is that? Why is this transformer beefier than this unit? Now, looking at the schematics for the amps, both of them have the same high voltage winding, a 340/0340 around 80 to 90 milliamps. They're running the same 6-volt heaters, so you're powering the 2 6v6s and the 4 preamp valves. So could it be that it's the rectifier? Well, this 66 runs, or should run, a 5U4, which is a 5-volt 3-amp rectifier valve. But that's what this one's got as well. Now, the early silver plate amps did run the GZ34, which is only a 2-amp 5-volt rectifier valve. But these 5U4s are 3-amp. So they both should be spec'd to run the same. Isn't that interesting? So as we went down the line, obviously Fender started fitting a beefier transformer. Now, I don't know how many turns of wiring is inside. I don't know the thickness or the gauge of the wiring. But really, really interesting that this amplifier here, even though it runs exactly the same valve complement or tube complement, has a much shorter stack on its power transformer than the silver plate amp. There you go. I know what you're all going to ask me is why on the silver plate amp has the cap can failed, yet on the much older amp, it's 8 years older, why this can is still good. Who knows? Could be hours on the amp, it could be a number of different reasons, but the one that's in the silver plate amp is has reached the end of its service life, whereas the one in the black plate amp still tests pretty much as new in terms of capacitance and leakage. So yeah, isn't that interesting? So I have no reason to swap the cap can out on the older amplifier, but I do on the newer amp. So there you go. Apart from that, it's got the Schumacher output transformer, but that's about it really. Yeah, they both appear to be pretty similar. Okay, 57 Tweed, first one fired up on the bench, running great actually, really happy with it. So we're currently doing 9.4 volts RMS into 8 ohms. It just squares off there, so we'll back it down so it's clean. 9.4 volts, which puts us 9.5, puts us 11.3 watts, and these are usually rated for 12, so we are then thereabouts there. Treble control works. Very simple. So I'm going to leave that burning in for a bit. Anything to report? No, not really. It sounds great. It looks great. I will do you a sound sample on it once I've got it loaded in the cab. But what we'll do is I'll load another cab with a Celestion Blue, and then we can do a side-by-side comparison between the two speakers that I was offering on this, so you can hear which is which. But yeah, that's running great. The bias is spot on. B+. Oh, just turned off, look. At the first node, measuring the first filter cap, 380 volts. Pulling about 70 watts out of the wall, which is perfect. And yeah, nothing to report. So, she good. So what do we actually need for 12 watts? Somewhere between 9.5 and 10. So maybe there, just at the onset of clipping. It's fine. She's good. Love it. .5E3 built in a custom chassis to give the spacing for those big Alnico speakers. Right, so this is going to do 24 hours burn-in minimum. Anyway, as I said, I was going to move this socket further along on the other ones, but actually, it's turned out all right. It's fine. So I might just leave them as it is. I think maybe I did get it right in the first instance. So, yeah. The only thing I will do is I might tweak the coupling caps to the output valves, maybe to trim the bass response, just in case the speaker is a bit boomy. I don't expect it to be. In fact, I expect it to be like a Celestion Blue, have quite a tight bottom end. But we'll see. That's the only real mod I would want to do. But apart from that, it's great. Yeah, mega happy. Cool. Just had a huge delivery of speakers, one of which is a Celestion Greenback. Now, for a very, very long time, Rift used WGS speakers. I love WGS speakers. They're great. They've got pretty much a model for any application, any sort of sound that you want. But getting them in the UK has started to get slightly more difficult. Lead times are longer. And prices have started to go up, and as with any business, you have to start looking at alternatives. And as some of you know, I've started using a lot more Celestion stuff lately, mainly because Celestion are bringing, or already have done at this point, I'm not sure, all of their guitar speakers in-house in the UK. So all of the guitar stuff is UK made. And they've been doing some really cool stuff lately. So you'll see that on my PR6, PR18 and PR35 models, I now use the Celestion A-Type, which is their American voice speaker, over the WSG 12C. I actually think it's slightly sweeter, and it's got the edge ever so slightly. On the PR50, I still use the G12C because it's got the 75 watt power handling. But yeah, anyway, so we've got a Plexi 18, which is about to go off to one of our dealers in Norway. And I've always used the WGS Green Beret, which is their version of a greenback. But since all this stuff is now UK made, which is great news, we might as well try for this one of the new UK made greenbacks. So this is going to go in that cabinet. I've already made up the speaker cable, so I just need to solder that on. Then I can get the cabinet prepped, that amp finished, and out the door to our dealer. Do you remember how I was saying you don't often see the amps come back in that you build? Well, here is one of them. This is one of the, I think I did 12 in the end. I think that's what we're up to, 12 or 13. V-front supers in various different configurations and whatnot. I've done them in 5B4, 5C4, 5D4, 5F4 circuits, and I've also done them like this one with reverb. Quite cool, right? So proper V-fronted style cabinet, 2x10. Got the metal thing on the front here. I've gone blank. What's it called? Front panel. And then this particular one, 4-hole input. So high and low for each channel. Got my logo there. Reverb, master tone control, normal and bright channels. Loaded with 2 Warehouse G10Cs. This particular one is running 6 V6s, not 6 L6s, so it's a lower wattage version. And he's also got a Dr. Z brake light in the back. So it's in for a service and a check over and a sort out. I think we're going to upgrade the preamp valve sockets. It's got the ceramic ones in, which I was using when I built this, but we're going to upgrade it to the Beltons, give it a service, give it a check out, make sure it's all good. But yeah, I do like these. And I did find the other day that I've got some of these remaining, which means I could do a couple more of these. So if anyone is interested, and serious inquiries only, because they are expensive to do, I might be persuaded to do a couple of these with reverb, of course. I think that's a great addition. Yeah. How cool is that? V-front super. Well, that's all we've got time for, guys. I've finished working for the week now, so I'm just working on making up a new injector loom for the race car. The one on the car it's 92, what's that, 32 years old now, something like that. So I'm just making up a new one. Tessa tape just came in, so we're all done. So we've got the 4 injector plugs, got the coolant temp socket, and we've got the secondary coolant temp socket all into the thing there. So that's all made up. So that's going to go on the car this weekend. Please give this video a thumbs up. All your comments and questions down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I say this every week, but roughly only 1/3 of the viewers of my videos are actually subscribers. So we need to get those numbers up. It really helps us out. If you want to support me another way, you can join the channel for a small fee. Hit the join button below, like these guys have, and I will catch you all at the next one.